In the beginning, part number 2, one stark difference is how we view and treat children. I genuinely love kids and hoped to have as many as possible. We were eager to start a family, so once we decided we were going to get married, we started trying to get pregnant. I was looking forward to pouring all my time and love into the amazing little people that God would bless me with. They do not like kids, and yet they have an abundance of them in the family, both birthed and adopted. But we will come back to this difference later in the story. Shortly after we got married, we moved from Illinois to Nashville, Tennessee to attend a ministry school. It was a huge shock to everyone that knew me. I had known this guy 10 months and suddenly, I'm married and going into the ministry. No one saw that coming, and they let me know they didn't support it. I was definitely outside of my element, but it was such an incredible life-changing experience. The ministry school and the marriage. May 2012. It had been a year straight of taking a test every month in hopes that it would finally show those 2 lines. It didn't happen. After that many disappointments, all I could do one morning, after another negative test, was crawl back into bed and cry. This was quite different than my usual positive and optimistic way of dealing with things. I cried and shared my fears and frustrations. Micah held me and knew what to say to assure me that even if for some reason I didn't give birth to a baby, God gave me the passion to be a mom, so one way or another I would be one. Eventually Micah and I graduated the ministry school we were attending, and within a day or 2 he left for Iowa. I would be staying at his parents' house back in Illinois while he was away. He was doing a month-long training with a truck driving company he hired on with. This was a big change for us, seeing as we had not spent longer than a couple days apart since we started dating. Our plan was that once he could have passengers, I would move into the truck with him. One night just after he had left, I was laying in bed unable to sleep, and I told God, I trust you. I know you will make me a mum, and no matter what that looks like, I will be grateful and love that baby with everything I have. The fear and worry I was feeling, I handed it to God and focused on our plans for the future. Micah spent a month training over the road and finally got one day to come home. So one night together, and he was off to start driving his own truck, and it wasn't clear when he would get home time again. It was another month before he had time off, and it fell right on my birthday, number 28. To celebrate, we decided to spend the weekend in Nashville and visit our church. A couple weeks later, Micah's sister asked how my birthday weekend went. I shared with her how the morning after my birthday, we were having breakfast on this lovely patio, when all of a sudden I smelled something that made me nauseous. It was so strong that I couldn't eat after smelling it, but no one else noticed anything. The nausea was bad enough that we decided to skip church that morning and just head back to Illinois. When I told his sister that story, she said, "Sounds like you're pregnant." I laughed. Seeing as it had just happened one morning, I said, "No, I don't think so." She asked if I was sure. I told her I still had time before my period, so I was pretty sure. She talked me into buying a test, and it was the first one I took, thinking it was going to be negative. I was in complete shock when there was a very faint second line that appeared. I walked out of the bathroom and stood there in shock. Micah's youngest sister walked out of her room as I stood there in a daze. "What's up?" she asked. I asked her to go look at that and tell me what she sees. She walked into the bathroom and matter-of-factly stated, "Looks like you're pregnant." I stood there for quite a while until I heard the front door open. My mother-in-law was home from work. She could tell something was going on just by looking at me. I don't recall all the details that followed, but I could tell my mother-in-law was stressed at the idea of me being pregnant. Looking back now, I think they had hoped we would call it quits before any children came along. I didn't want to be wrong, so I took more tests. All had very faint second lines. Another thing that happened during all this was my back went out for the first time. I had bent over to move a box and felt such an intense pain that I couldn't move. I fell onto our bed and for the next couple weeks could not straighten out my back or take more than 2-3 steps at a time. This of course caused issues because I was limited in my ability to move and seemed lazy to my in-laws. Over time I was able to move more and the pain started to fade. I woke up feeling completely fine one day and felt such a relief. Later that day, I started bleeding a lot. My heart dropped as I told Micah. We drove to the emergency room. We spent hours waiting for someone to tell us what was happening. The entire time Micah was staying positive, and we kept praying that our baby was okay. Eventually, a doctor came in and started saying things like, "It's totally normal for a woman's body to reject pregnancy, and it's really a good thing because you don't want to have a baby that has issues." He continued talking for a long time as we both sat frozen in disbelief. Is this how he was telling us that we had lost our baby? It was so cold and heartless. Eventually, Micah went outside to call his mum and update her. The doctor left the room as Micah did, and I was sitting there unsure what all just happened. I have to be dreaming, I thought as I began to cry. A nurse came into the room, and was giving me the paperwork to leave. She said, "Are you able to understand what's happening? Did he explain it well to you?" I started sobbing and saying no. The nurse quickly explained it looks like the baby could be in a place that would be difficult for it to grow, but everything could be just fine. "We are just going to have you come back in for an internal ultrasound and monitor you more closely just to make sure." "So I didn't miscarry?" I asked. "No, sweetheart, everything is fine." I quickly gathered my things and went to the parking lot and told Micah what the nurse had said. We were both baffled by what the doctor had said and why he said it, but we also felt such a relief that everything was okay. Months later, my mother-in-law shared with me privately that as a certified midwife, she had wondered at the time if my back going out was a symptom of a possible miscarriage. A couple weeks after the ER visit, I went in to have an internal ultrasound. That is where I heard one of the most beautiful sounds in the world. My child's heart beat. It was very clear and so strong that I asked if it was normal for it to beat so quickly. I was assured that everything sounded and looked great. I was given quite a few ultrasound photos showing the baby. Shock and worry that we were wrong or that I was just dreaming had been replaced by excitement, true joy and thankfulness for an answered prayer. A couple days later was Micah's 26th birthday. He opened a birthday card from me that read, "Happy birthday, Daddy," and inside were ultrasound photos of our baby. He has said that is when it finally felt real for him. Fun fact, our daughter was born the 27th of April. That means I got pregnant on my birthday the 5th of August. God gives the best birthday presents. Part number 3 coming soon.